the items you're about to see can be purchased on my eBay website at Whitney LaBrie Events.
Hey everybody, Whitney LaBrie here, and happy Wednesday to you. I know this is a little different because I normally don't show up on my Wednesday videos, just my hands. But this week I thought I'd do something a little bit different because I have an exceptional haul that I want to share with you, something really different that I haven't personally seen before, so I thought that that would really be fun, and a little bit of a refurbish too on that. And then also, over the last year of doing these hauls, I've had several requests on what happens after the haul. People have asked me, how do I store my miniatures? And so I thought today what we do is I'd show you a quick little version of how the miniatures go from me to you.
So this is the exceptional haul that I want to show you. I found these amazing solid wood room boxes that somebody made. Now there looks like there's a reception hall here and also a church. Both are in quite a disarray, but it isn't something that couldn't totally be renewed, and which we're going to do today. I absolutely love them. They're quite heavy. You can't see it now, I'll show you at the end, but there are some glass encasements, is what real glass encasements that go on the front and the top. Now the reception hall here, it does look like it lights up. I don't know if it lights up quite yet. We'll have to take a look at that. This is a faux window here that they have created, and you can kind of see here the lighting, but also this photograph that they've placed in the back. I'm not sure what that is, if that is an Italian villa or something that kind of looks like it. And then that is a plexi piece inside there, that window. On the back, they've taped some dried floral, just really needs to be cleaned. So I'll definitely see if we can get this lit. There's a lot of this crispy dried floral on the walls. This was probably very cute at one time, but now just the mini hole, the blue tack, the yellow tack, it's just really crusty and dried. And these flowers are really dried as well, and they're covered in dust, and they're actually kind of inexpensive anyway. So I'm just probably going to remove those pieces. So the church though is really something to be in awe of. I mean, this was really well done. Those stained glass windows, that is real glass. It doesn't have like the lead in the glass, so it's not like a true stained glass piece, but it does look like they did install either the laminate that went over it or the stickers over it. Perfect. They are gorgeous. They are very well done. The windows themselves are gorgeous, sturdy, but they have come off, so they will need to be glued back in place. But look at this one. This was giant. I mean, it is just gorgeous. Well done. The staging area there also has kind of seen better days. The holy water and then the communion box there are probably made by the builder of the box themselves. They are installed differently than this other one that's on top that's just installed with blue tack. Most of the items that are just sitting in here, they don't go with the box. You can kind of tell they were just kind of added later. The outside of the box, it has this doorway here, and then the reception hall also has the same sort of opening, but I placed the two boxes together, and the door here is actually sitting too low because it looked like one led into the other one, and maybe that was what they intended, but then the door didn't fit, and so they just made them two separate boxes. So I'm gonna sell these as two separate pieces. So I found this box as well, part of the huge haul that I bought, gosh, over a year now. And on the outside it says antique shop, it says church and wedding, so I'm going to guess that this is the correct thing. Now I do have an antique shop which we haven't looked at. We won't do that today, so not everything in the box we're gonna really look at. I'm just going to focus on the wedding and church items today. This box was incredibly heavy, and the minute I opened it, I realized why, because I can see that there is a ton of the resin dolls, and that's most likely why this is so heavy. Now, the first thing that I'm seeing are these church pews. They are, first of all, amazing. You can tell right off the bat that these are handmade. This cross on the side is an amazing added detail. When you turn it over, you can see where you can hold the Bibles and the hymn books. It also has a fold out kneeling bench here, which is honestly mind-blowing to me how beautiful this piece is. Now both ends, it has some mini hold on it. And then look here, this is actually the artist signature here is Ray. That is for Ray Backus. And I have seen Ray's stuff. I've seen a few items. I've seen a record player by Ray, and I've also seen a pool table by Ray. They are both beautifully made, and so I'm wondering, was it made specifically for the room box? And I'm wondering if it's the same artist. Here's another pew here, same artist. You can see there's some wedding floral stuck on the side. Now this one has a doll that someone stuck on it, and it's actually quite disappointing because I don't want to say anything bad about these resin dolls because they are fabulous and they definitely serve a purpose. When you add an inexpensive piece to a really well-made artisan piece, it kind of downplays that really beautiful artist piece. And in this case, it seems like they have glued down this doll. And so I'm going to attempt to remove it without damaging it, but I just can't see that there won't be some damage underneath. Either the velvet will be pulled up or there's going to be a stain from the glue, which if it's white glue, it could possibly be removed. So we'll see. All right, here's another church pew. So far we have 3. Now this one, the backing on it where the Bibles are held and hymn books, it is missing a few little slats. So hopefully they are in this box or maybe even inside the church portion, because the church had a lot of extra stuff in it. Even though it's in disarray and almost looks like the set of The Walking Dead, there might be some pieces in there. This item here, it definitely is a handmade piece. It does not have a signature. It's so similar in the way the wood is that it makes me think that possibly Ray also made this. I am not certain, but this is definitely like a prayer bench here, like a kneeling prayer bench. It might even go up front where you would take communion. You would kneel, take communion, and now here's a piano as well. It's not an organ. It is also an inexpensive piano. It has paper keys. This part does fold down. I don't see a maker on it, but this could easily be, an old town square piece. It could maybe be Concord. So we can, maybe I'll try to do some research and figure out which one it is. Maybe and if you do, you can, of course, let me know in the comments. I always appreciate that. So at first I thought this was a podium, but then you can see here that it actually is more of a kneeler or prayer bench as well. And this one is special. It's a Throne Room collection item from the Institute of Chicago. It's really pretty. It's different. I haven't seen this before. It has the velvet interior as well, the red velvet. I'm sure it's faux, but anyway, it's a nice piece also in walnut. Looks like they had something maybe glued to the front. It's got a little bit of some residue on the front also. Let's take a look at some of these resin pieces. So this first religious statue here, this is St. Jude. You can tell it's St. Jude because he's holding this medallion, this little medallion right here, which is the image of Edessa, who was a king who was very sick and who had heard of Jesus and wanted to be healed by him. Of course, St. Jude himself, he symbolizes hope in times of great need. All right, then we pop on over to the bride here. This is a artisan flare bride, or she's a resin bride. And the face often on these artisan flare, they need kind of a little bit of work, especially the eyes, which can easily be, changed with a little bit of paint. But what I do like about them, of course, is they are already in these positions of movement. So like this one, obviously she's walking down the aisle with her bouquet already ready to go. This fold down desk, it's got a little broken piece off in here, but that does not go to this, so maybe it goes to something else. It's having a little issue right in the front. It's got a little chip, but luckily the piece is there, so that can probably be fixed. In general, overall okay shape. This is a House of Miniature desk, and I don't think this is a kit because it has the sticker on the bottom of it, but I didn't see the Exacto label, just House of Miniature. Everything opens. I'm going to try not to pop off any of the hardware, although it is missing one small drawer pull, it does look like. Here's another artisan flare resin doll. Someone added some floral to her so that she probably looks like a flower girl, or maybe she's the maid of honor. All right, another resin doll here, green dress. She has her hands out as though she's maybe reading a book. Maybe she had a hymn book in her hand or the Bible. She could easily sit in one of those pews, but she could also sit in anything. Obviously, she's already ready to go there. Okay, so this looks like Mary with Jesus, and it does look like she might be standing on a globe. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, and that is a resin statue there. So now it looks like we're gonna start moving on to some of the resin groom dolls. Let's see, this one's got the white jacket, and he's a pretty fair-skinned fellow here. And then we've got another one here in the black coat with blue pants. Honestly, they look like they're different makers. I think the black coat is Artisan Flair, and the other one, I don't know who did that one. This one is another resin doll that has been altered a little bit. They added a pillow to it, so this is probably the ring bearer. This is an Artisan Flair piece, but you can see that they glued it down. It looks like he was holding a pie or something. Maybe he was a waiter, and then they turned him into a ring bearer. Someone needs to add a couple rings to the pillow, and maybe I'll come across a couple rings in this box. Who knows? Here is a lovely couple here that could be sitting in one of the pews. Their facial expressions are kind of hilarious. Like, she almost looks like she's saying like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm next to walk down the aisle. He's looking like, oh my God, she's gonna want me to propose to her soon. So. All right, so this guy here, we've got a couple more groomsmen maybe, or guests of the wedding. And one looks like he is holding a piece of paper in his hand. Maybe he's got the marriage license there in his hand, and then we just have a guest over here or another groomsman, like I said. Both resin. Okay, so this guy's been staring at me from the box over here. I swear I thought this was Colonel Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it does look like that they've added a little present to his hand. Who knows what he was holding initially. This is a CECIL Boyd doll. She's well known for making these handcrafted resin dolls. So this is definitely a collector piece. I can see the signature really light under some museum wax there. I love this doll. This is actually a really, really, really well-made doll. And of course, when I look at him, I want to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, extra crispy for sure. All right, here's a resin mom with 2 kids. Her dress feels a little faded. Again, these are easily painted. It looks like the front of it was, maybe she was in the sun for a bit. Anyway, overall though, other than the little fading, you know, she's in good condition. All right, so this we have just a handmade table here that's a foam base, and then they added their fabric, glued the fabric down, added a few decorative items like lace and roses, and then on the table, which is super cute, is a tiny little bag of bird seeds. So that's pretty adorable, I have to say. The fabric, I mean, I don't know, it needs better fabric, or add a whole bunch of really fun accessories to the top and just keep it as is. Here we have 2 more guests, I'm guessing. This one is really nice. This is not an Artisan Flair, but she is a resin doll. I'm loving her dress and her hat. She actually has some really great color. So I'll need to do a little bit more research on that one to see what the brand is on it. I'm not familiar with her. This is an Artisan Flair doll, and I like his little pot belly there. He's had a few beers in his life. It does look like he was face down in something, and he's got something all over his face, some sort of plastic piece, or I don't know what this is, like faux leather. And this is the culprit right here. It's an old mail bag, so luckily it looks like everything's coming off. He'll be easily cleaned off. But anyway, I like this guy. He's quite a little bit of a character. You can tell that he's probably a fun guy to hang out with, and certainly enjoy a drink or two as he's got his drink in his hand right now. Okay, a couple more guests here, 2 more resin dolls. We have this lady here in her little gown, ready to go, wants to be seen at the wedding. And then we have another gentleman here, and he's in the seated position. Now the girl does have something that she's got a chip on her. I think that there was probably a little flower there that got chipped off. And then this guy, he's got his hands out, which is nice because he looks like he could, you know, hold a drink or maybe hold a book or something in his hand. Could be easily added. All right, we've got a floral piece here in a really nice vase or a pot. We've got a matching set, so these maybe went inside the church. The flowers, these are really bright and they really stand out. And you've got what almost looks like a combination of like some really traditional floral, but then some really tropical floral. And they're not cheap flowers. They are clay. These definitely were not in the sun because they have not been faded at all. The color on them is really good. I don't know if these are the pots that they should be in maybe, but everybody has their own styles and things that they like. All right, and then here is a handmade doll. This is porcelain. I'm guessing that this is the Catholic wedding officiant. There is a little bit of a stain on it. This definitely has a handmade feel. It has the real hair. I'm not seeing any label on it or any artist stamp or anything like that. I wish I didn't have that stain on it, but anyway, it's a pretty cool doll. The clothes on it also look to be handmade. I don't know what this piece is here. If you know what this was meant to be for the church, maybe let me know in the comments below. Again, there's an antique store items that is in the bottom of this box. So maybe it goes to something along those lines. But here is another religious figure. This little statue is called the Infant Jesus of Prague. And what's interesting about this is that he holds a miniature globe signifying that, the worldwide kingship of the Christ child. And then in the right hand is extended in blessing with the first two fingers being upraised to symbolize the two natures of Christ, while the folded thumb and the last two fingers touch each other that represent the unity of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So very, very interesting. A lot of symbolism in religion. And I do think that's pretty interesting. Okay, here we have another sitting lady, and she's actually looking into the mirror. I don't know, maybe she was at the wedding and she's still single, maybe she's a spinster, and she saw a handsome man in the audience and thought, what, maybe I better check my makeup and primp a little bit before going over there and meeting him. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, here is a really nice chair. This is a Concord chair. It's the only one I'm seeing in the box, and so I don't know how it fits into, well, it could definitely go into the reception hall maybe, and be a part of that. Maybe someone was hanging out in it and eating some delicious treats. This is a fun piece. I've had some of this before. This is Bramley House, and it is based off the English children's books. And so it's just a resin archway here, a floral resin archway, and it's in really good condition. I know a lot of people collect these type of items. It's interesting because over the years, I used to really not be into resin anything, really. I don't know. Some of these artists do such a good job on this, and some of these manufacturers, that I can't help myself that I've kind of over the years started to really enjoy some of those pieces. I'm not 100% sure about what these two symbolize. I know that an angel with a baby often is the symbol of a mother's love or true love, and then a angel holding a candle. I'm going to guess, you guys who are Catholic, let me know if I'm wrong, that's fine, that this might be Archangel Michael. Many people pray to him when they're not feeling safe, and so they light the candle as in symbolization to light the way. So let me know if that's correct or what your take is on it. I'm interested in that as well. It's pretty cool. Okay, here we have another lady sitting down. Now, we've seen this one already. She is wearing that green skirt and her hands are up as though she's holding a book or maybe a Bible in this case. Now, they have glued her down to a blue leather-like chair, so I will not be removing her. I'm going to keep her in this chair. I'm going to sell her this way because I can guarantee that that chair is definitely going to be damaged if she is removed. And she's already in the sitting position, so she would be a really easy doll to just put up to a vanity or put up to the dining table and already have her ready to go. Here we have another gentleman here in a suit. He's a groomsman. He's holding his hat. He has a beard and, he's in good condition. That's surprisingly about most of the dolls I've pulled out today. Very little damage or chips and stuff in the paint on their clothing. So actually, I'm very, very happy to see that. All right, so this is a handmade holy water font, and there were a couple also on the doorway in the church. Now, this one is made by Robert THOMPKINS, and I have seen some of his other work. I've seen desks by him. I think I have a table by him. I've had a stool by him. He does beautiful work. This is no exception here. This is a beautiful holy water font, and the only thing is, somebody took a lot of yellow tack and they tacked in the gold basin here. I'm gonna try to remove that and clear that off so that it is put back to what the artist intended. All right, so we've got a Bezpak hutch here. This is an unfinished Bezpak, so you could definitely take this and do whatever you want with it. Now, I do see a flaw in it right off the get-go. You have, well, some of the little velvet backing has got a little smush on it, but there is a little tiny piece of the wood trim that goes on the front glass that is gone, but otherwise nice shape. And actually you could remove the piece that's in front of the other one and then it would match and you wouldn't even look like it was missing. I've had to do that in the past. So anyway, everything else is nice. And of course, Bezpak, being that it's Bezpak, you've got a real glass mirror and then you've got really nice shelving with front trim on it, which is really nice. Now the hinge is a little loose. It's come undone on the side. So that's something that I'll either try to fix or send it to its new home just as is. How much I fix something really has to do with how much time I have, if you want to know how I decide what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. That's usually what it is. All right, so what else do we have here? We have another reception hall table. I'm guessing this one is in a pink satin. This is in much better condition than the other one, and it has a much better base on it than the other one had. So a little bit of imperfections on the top where probably food and plates of stuff were being placed. The floral and everything on it though is pretty cute. So, you know, generally for the age, I'm guessing that these were made in the 80s, that it's in good shape. All right, so at the base here, I'm seeing the reception table, and what they did was they just took two extension tables, and then I think they used mini hold and they put a big lace top on it, and you can see that the tables themselves, these are not very expensive pieces. This was a good idea though. This was kind of fun. They only put the lace on the front part, so I'm guessing that was the part that you could see from the room box opening, and added it. So, you know, it's okay. We have a really nice Bezpak piano. This one is in nice enough shape that it just really needs a minimal amount of work and it would look brand new. The foot pedals, the piece itself looks like it's a little bit loose, needs a little bit of glue there. It just needs 2 screws for the hardware, 2 little nails, and maybe a little bit of glue to keep that in place. But otherwise, aside from cleaning, this is a really nice piano. It does have a little bit of mini hold on it. Everything else in the box is really for the antique store. I'm not going to take anything else out right now, and we can look at that on another episode. I do want to remove any of the other accessories that I can see in here that belong to either the church or the wedding hall, and let's go ahead and take a look at those really quickly. So here I found a lot more floral for the wedding reception. We've got some pots and plants. We have a couple more religious statues and religious artifacts and objects. We have some gifts, some wedding presents, a couple candle holders and some crosses. And then over here, we've got the wedding cake. We've got some fruit punch. I'm guessing it's fruit punch. Could be spiked punch. We don't know. And then a whole bunch of really fun food boards, some charcuterie boards. Look at all that charcuterie. We've got a silver platter of what looks like delicious meatballs. So, you know, some good foods there. Okay, so now that the haul is over, what do I do with all of the miniatures that I just showed you? Well, what I do is I bring them into my office and I lay them all on this table and I kind of organize them out. And this is where I will clean them. I will fix what I can fix. Again, it just really depends on how much time that I have to get everything done and get it onto the eBay website. So that's what I spend a lot of the time doing right after I do my haul. Then from there, when everything is all nice and cleaned and organized and ready to go, I pull out, I have a couple different little photo room boxes that I tend to use. I put the items into those boxes and I take their photos and take their measurements, and then I bring them on over here where they get packaged, just depending. I usually will package them individually, each item, put them in bags, and then they get organized.
Okay, and you can see behind me all of my little cubbies. And so once everything is cleaned and prepped and photographed and packaged, I just bring it right over here to the coordinating bin, and I store it away in a little box until it's sold. Once the item is sold, I go ahead and pull out the bin. I bring it on over to my work table. I locate the item. I grab my box, and then I package it, and I put in my thank you card, and I ship it to you.
That's how I get all my hauls organized, cleaned, fixed, repaired, photographed, and shipped out to you. So what I thought we'd do, and thank you so much if you're still sticking with me in this episode today, what I like to do is go ahead and do a quick refurbishing of both of these rooms so that you can see the outcome. After everything kind of gets cleaned up and fixed, reorganized, glued back in, and ready to go. All right, so this is what I've done. I've added in all the pews, and my guess is they are pieces that were made specifically for this room box. And the reason I'm thinking that is because the carpeting, the runner, it does not go down the exact middle of the church and lead directly to the staging area. But the pews are two different sizes, and they fit perfectly on either side of the carpet. So they were definitely made to go on either side of that carpet, and that carpet was meant to be exactly where it is. So I've kind of set this church up the way that I think that it was meant to go. Of course, you can see I left the doll sitting there because, again, I don't want to ruin it. And then this is what those beautiful windows look like when I light them from behind. And I'm just holding a light up to the back side of things. I didn't install a light box or anything like that. And then here is the wedding reception area is what I'm calling it. But I'm actually going to take everything down. I'm just going to have it be very bare bones, because the truth of it is, like I said, it doesn't line up perfectly with the chapel. And what I think this could actually be is, besides it could be obviously a wedding reception, it could also be a beautiful library. It could be an amazing office. It could be a museum if someone wanted to turn it into like a one-room museum. It could be a courthouse or a courtroom. So really, this box here, the way that it is with the wood and the wainscoting already built in, and then it's got this really cool window, it could be really anything besides a wedding reception room. So I did check the lighting. The lighting does work, and I'm going to leave the original photo in that they put in, but whoever buys it, of course, could change it out to be whatever they want. And then last but not least, this is the beautiful glass top and side, very reflective. Also, it's hard to see, that go with both of these pieces. Both of them have them, and they're in beautiful shape also. All right, so that's it for today, you guys. And when I say that's it, I know that was a lot. So if you stuck with me through the whole video, thank you so much for doing so. I really packed in a lot. It was very different, very unusual items. I hope that you did see something that you absolutely cannot live without. And if you are new to this What's New Wednesday program, this means that you can just jump right on over to my eBay website, where everything that you saw today will be listed for you to purchase. I will probably list a lot of other items today that you did not see, just because this was so niche-y and specific. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time for my regular scheduled videos. Bye.